video is on ways to find the mean of grouped data, which is part of class 10th mathematics, and it is presented by us, the Yellow Hat group. Now we have understood what group data is in our previous video, and now we'll move on forward. So basically there are three ways in which you can find the mean of grouped data: the direct mean method, the assumed mean method, and step deviation method. In this video, we'll be primarily looking at the direct mean method and get some concepts right. Now, as we have seen in the previous video, in case of grouped data, let's say I'll take an example. This is known as our class, which is a group. Let's say my first group is 10 to 15. Second group is 15 to 20, and then 20 to 25. And my frequency is 6, 7, and 8. So this is how my group data looks like. Now, the problem with group data is that we don't actually know the data points, right? We don't know the exact data points, because if we would have known it, it would have been very easy, because we know that the basic definition of mean is sum of all the observations divided by the number of observations. That is the fundamental definition of mean. If we know the data points, it's very easy to calculate it, but in this case we don't know. So what we will be doing is we will be estimating these data points, right? We will be estimating these data points. Now, always when you will have the grouped data, you can only guess the mean. You will not exactly know what the mean is because you don't know the data points, right? So let us see how can you make that guess, and let us take an example and try to understand the first method. So I've taken this example from NCERT, which says that this is an example which shows the number of wickets taken by bowlers in a one-day cricket match, and you have to find the mean by using a suitable method. First, we'll be using the direct mean method. So I've taken this data and just represented it in a tabular form here. Now, number of wickets. So this column, always remember, the column headings, which will be important. This column here is always known as your class, right? Or groups, you can say. Your number of bowlers will be your frequency, because that will say that there are 7 bowlers who scored wickets between 20 to 60 and so on. Now, as I said, I don't exactly know the data points. I'll have to guess. So let's take the first class. So I will take the first class 20 to 60, and its frequency is 7. Now I have to select a point within this which can be representative of, which can represent this class. That means all the 7 data can be represented by a single number. So what will be that number? Now you can pause the video and guess it. The hint will be that it has to be in between that. Now the best guess would be that you take midpoint, 20 to 60 divided by 2, which is 40. So that's a very good guess. That's the midpoint. So what I'm saying is all these 7 points is represented by 40. So this midpoint is known as class mark, right? This mark, so which is upper value of the class plus lower value of the class divided by 2. So if I create another column and write it as class mark, so now I get an absolute number which can represent a class, right? So that will be 40 in this case. Similarly, 60 plus 100, that will be 160 divided by 2, that will be 80. In this case, it will be 125, it will be 200, 300, and 400. Now the beauty of this is, now this class mark is represented as xi. Now the beauty of this is, now this is simplified as you would have done in your earlier classes. If you have a simple xi fi column, how would you calculate the mean? You will just do xi fi, and your mean in that case will be summation of xi fi divided by summation of frequency, right? The only difference was that in earlier classes that was the exact data points, but in this case this x is your class mark, your estimated. So here I will do XI/FI. So it will be 40 into 7, that will be 280, and so on. If I do the calculation, it will be 400, this will be 2000, it will be 2400, 600 and 1200. So I will have to just do summation of this. Sum of all these columns will be, I can use a different color here, it will be 6. I've done the calculation already, it will be 6880. So the mean, I should rather say my estimated mean for this group data set will be 6880 divided by, what will be the denominator? It will be the sum of these frequencies, which is 45. So this is 45, and this will come out to be 152.8. So this is our average. Now what does this signify? That means this is the average for this data set. On an average, these are the number of wickets taken by bowlers.